Day 2 is in the bag. Day 2 of the World Darts Championship is in the bag. So we'll be having a look at the 8 games that took place on Day 2 and then a quick look forward to the 8 games on Day 3. We'll be updating on a couple of our bets that we've advised on other videos and how they've spectacularly lost. We've had, like I say, we've had 8 games on Day 2. Lisa Ashton was involved, and that's always a talking point when there's a female player in action. There's 2 in this tournament. So yeah, I'll hand you straight over to the main man, Matt Pieman Hill, who's going to run through the action on Day 2.
Cheers, Adam. Fantastic day of darts. I have caught most of it. Well, pretty much all of it. I don't want to come across like a complete loser who's just been sat watching it all day, but I am really.
No, that's a winner. That's not a loser. That is a complete winner.
Well, it's about time we had some winners in it. So, to be honest, I would say the advice that we gave in yesterday's video was pretty much on the money for all games. So, yeah, let's see if we can keep the momentum going. Quick review of today first, and I'll start at the top of the shop with Ryan Joyce, Karol Sedlacek, a game that we said could be a game of the first round, and it proved to be that way. First 4 sets went against the darts, but don't let that fool you. This was a game high on quality. I honestly think this could be the game of the round. Just had a bit of everything, you know, but quality finishing, quality scoring. They were feeding off each other, these 2 players, 2 really decent players playing to a good level. It went all the way through to a last leg. Sedlacek had not trailed in the game until the last dart. Which will delight you as somebody who was on Sedlacek. But yeah, I did say on a video I'd maybe go with the sets handicap over the straight win, but there we are. You can't dwell on it. He missed 6 match darts, Sedlacek. 2 to win the last set 3-0, and then 4 in the final leg. A hilarious final leg where Ryan Joyce actually managed to bust 106. Yeah. Honestly, it was a real heads fell off moment. He was so disappointed that he had missed the big single, that he almost threw away his last dart. He was trying to hit a single 3. He hit 51 and bust. So then when he came back to the board, he had 106 instead of like a double. Yeah. And he managed to, he didn't take the 106. Sedlacek missed another 3 match darts, and then Joyce came back and won it. But it was a really good game. Felt sorry for Sedlacek, but pleased for Joyce. And he has who does he have in the next round? You got that in front of you?
Whitlock is no, sorry, Ratajski. Sorry,
Ratajski. And I was just saying he's opened up 21-10 for that match, and I think that's a very fair price. So yeah, we'll get more onto that in due course in future videos. But Ross Smith.
Just on that before we move on.
Yeah, go on.
Some people that have engaged with our videos and don't know you and I personally may have falsely thought that we knew what we was talking about when it comes to betting. But today's incident with Sedlacek is typical 101. That is what we're all about. We enjoy stuff like that, even though it's a loser. So just to recap, I fancied Sedlacek 2-1. He went off in the region of 13-8. He went down to a deciding set. He was 2-0 up in legs. Obviously, only need 3 legs to win the deciding sets in this year. And he was about 1-33 in running. He's missed 6 match darts. Ryan Joyce has had that disastrous bust of the 106, and it just, it's just my first bet of the tournament, and it just and that's how it's gone. This is typical of what we provide, really. If we didn't
outrageous loser. Which in many ways morally is better than a winner for me.
Yeah.
So
more fun, definitely.
Yeah, you've done everything right and had 0 reward for it.
I mean, it was only 2 years ago, my first bet of the tournament, as we've spoke about before. Jeffrey Deswan averaged 106 and lost. So yeah, it's been it's a great start. And well, to be fair, it can only get better from here, can't it, Pieman? For me, anyway.
I think it could get a lot worse.
It's going quite well for you, which we'll touch on.
Yeah. Let's crack on. Ross Smith beat David Evans 3-0. Not a game that I'm going to go into too much, but this was tighter than the scoreline suggests. David Evans played well, should have probably won the 3rd set, and who knows what would happen from there. But they both average in the 90s, both played well. Ross Smith, dangerous player, one to keep an eye on. Another man who won 3-0, Willie O'Connor beat Neil Zunnerveld, someone I was very bullish on in yesterday's video. And yeah, he delivered O'Connor. Zunnerveld was okay. He did have some flashes of the scoring that we saw against James Wade. He's a player that's going to be around in future years. Definitely one to keep an eye on. He's a left-hander. He's got quite an unorthodox throwing style, but it works for him. But O'Connor was really, really good. watched his post-match interview afterwards with Darts Planet, and he kind of said that he thought he had a lot more left in the tank. He was happy with how he was playing, but he thought he could go up to another level. And he seems in a really good place, Willie O'Connor. I would be very interested in how he gets on against Daryl Gurney.
He's 6-5 for that game, which O'Connor, which I know you was anticipating, but it felt a bit short, didn't it, to you, the 6-5 up. We know Gurney has been struggling, but I
think
O'Connor's only averaged 88 today in that. 88.
What it shows to me is that we're on the right lines in saying that Willie O'Connor is in a good place and he could beat Daryl Gurney. It's clear that the market agrees with that, and there isn't much margin there. But I still think odds against, if you really think someone's got a good chance of winning in a 2-horse race, and it's worth a look, isn't it? But then another contender for game of the day, Chris Darby and Jeff Smith in the afternoon finale. What a fantastic game this was. Jeff Smith got a little bit of an unfair rap, I thought, in the commentary from Wayne Mardle, who was saying that he's not really a player who's shown that he has the quality to beat these good players. I've always thought Jeff Smith is a player, especially in recent years, who's looked like he had big wins in his locker. Played really well yesterday to get through against Keane Barry, and then started fantastically. He reeled off the first 2 sets. Darby nowhere to be seen, and the standard in the last 3 sets of this game from both players, sensational. Smith had his chance in the 3rd set. They both kind of averaged around 90, could have gone either way. Darby nicked it, and obviously, as a seed, 2-0 down in the race to 3. When it goes 2-1, it gives them the bit between their teeth. Darby came out and he averaged 113 and 112 in the last 2 sets. Smith was averaging 110 in both sets and lost them. So one of the unluckiest losers of the tournament alongside Sedlacek so far, Jeff Smith, did very little wrong. If Chris Darby could play like he played for those last 2 sets, he would give anyone a headache in this tournament, I'm telling you. But it's
and he has had good runs. He has had good runs.
He has had good runs, yeah.
But his form going into this wasn't there. And the same can be said in this little mini section about Daryl Gurney, but we'll find out about Daryl Gurney tomorrow.
Certainly will. Moving on to this evening, that seems like a good place to leave that. Max Hopp was the next one of our 3-0s that we've put up 6 3-0s. First one won yesterday. Max Hopp duly obliged again to go 2 out of 2. He beat Gordon Mathers, the Australian, who quite frankly looked for 99% of this game badly out of his depth, to be honest. It's quite sad, really. It clearly is nerves, because there was a couple of he took out a 139, and it was the most casual, nonchalant 139 you've ever seen. This man has been throwing a bag of nails for about 30 minutes and then just went treble 20, treble 13, tops, and just laughed and picked his darts out the board. That was very much the highlight of an abysmal performance. Max Hopp was okay. I think he was struggling with playing an opponent that was struggling. It was a game that never really got much rhythm. But Hopp did the job. He was very professional, and it's all about whether he can get back to where he was with his game. We know he's got bags of talent. Hopefully, he can show that. And I don't know, have you got the draw in front of you, Adam? I don't know who Max Hopp plays in.
So we play. Well, there's only one man who Max Hopp could come up against, and it's bow down to the king.
Yeah. That was the point I wanted to raise. Yeah, it meets Merv in round 2, is it?
Yeah, I mean, a real highlight of the week, to be honest, went to have Mervyn King on primetime TV.
And I think I might be getting mixed up here, but I think the winner of that plays Jose in round 3. Yeah,
that would be correct. Yeah, Jose would have to get past Ross Smith. They play tomorrow. We will of course come.
That'll be a good test for Jose. If Ross Smith plays like he did today, it'd be a good test. But you expect Jose to come through that.
Just on King, King has been priced up at in the region of 8 to 11 to beat Max Hopp, and Hopp would be the opposite price in the region of 11 to 8 at the early prices.
Yeah, so, not a foregone conclusion for King, but if he's playing like he does at the Players' Championship, he should have too much for Hopp on current form. Be an intriguing game again. Callum Ridge was the next one up, the third of the 4 Geordies to play today, and they all went through. He beat Bailey from the Australian, and unfortunately this was where the 3-0 roller was finally defeated. The Australian taking an unlikely set. He won 4 of the 13 legs, but unfortunately 3 of them came in the same set one. 2 3-figure out shots, completely out of nowhere. And fair play to him. What can you do about that? Callum Ridge was a little bit rocked by that, but recovered very well. polished him off. And he was quite bullish in his interview after the game, actually. He kind of said, I don't fear anyone. I feel like I'm playing really well. And he's definitely one to keep an eye on. We've talked about Ridge in the past. So.
And he goes on to play James Wade.
And they kind of put it to him in the interview that he would be a big underdog against James Wade. And he said, I fancy myself against James Wade. So that's not a game to be missed. That'll be a good game.
Early prices on that. Wade is 2-5. Ridge would be available at just over 2-1 in the early.
So it's about right. I'll be interested in the sets. I think that could go quite deep, that game. Another cracking game here. Adam Hunt holding off Lisa Ashton 3-2. This game really flickered between outrageously good and outrageously bad. Lisa had plenty of 11, 12, 13 dart legs in there, but she also had some legs on throw when she had, a big chance and she would throw in a stinker. There was some 20-something dart legs also alongside the 11 dart legs. But Adam Hunt, to be fair, he played the situation fantastically well. He didn't get flustered when Ashton had a few good patches, and he just kept his head down, kept working through. And it was a really impressive performance for me. Lisa Ashton, she missed 2 darts to take it to a final leg, and Adam Hunt came out and cleared up a 3-figure outshot to win the match. So well done him. And unfortunate for Lisa. You feel like she keeps putting on good performances on the Ali Pali stage and just finding someone too good for her. And that performance would have beat most of the
91 average. I mean, it's a lot more than some of the other ones we spoke about in the first round.
It would have. It was unfortunate. One of these years she'll get a decent draw and get that win. I'm certain of it. Final game of the night, and this was a really poor affair, to be honest. Glenn Durrant beating off Diego Portella 3-0. Doesn't really tell the story. Duzzer was well off the pace. As anticipated in our preview, he still looks like he's suffering from COVID. He did just say in his post-match interview that it wasn't the COVID that was holding him back, and he felt good. He feels healthy, feels strong again, and he's not sure about whether his practice routine is right and stuff. So obviously, you wouldn't want to write off Duzzer too easily. But if you were looking for a performance to suggest he's back, that was not it.
Yeah.
And Portella couldn't get going, really. He should have won the third set. He had the throw for the third set and really put in a stinking leg. Maybe the emotion of last night's unexpected victory just getting the better of the Brazilian, but does a through to round 3, and he'll face one of, I think, Adi Lewis, Damon Heta or Danny Baggish, so he's going to have a really difficult round 3 examination. Needs to be much improved.
Yeah, and we're on Heta. So for people that are on Heta, like you and I, that is a good sign. Obviously, Heta's got to win a couple of games before getting to Durrant, but he would fancy his chances if getting there with Durrant continuing to show poor form, unfortunately for him. So going into day 3, the Thursday's game, again, there's 8 games, 6 of which are first round games, 2 of which are second round games. So the 2 seeds coming in at this stage on Thursday are Daryl Gurney, who will take on William O'Connor, who we've already mentioned, and then Jose de Souza will take on Ross Smith, who we've already mentioned. So there seems to be a pattern whereby one of the qualifiers wins on one day, and then the next day two of them go on to play again the following day. So what do you think of tomorrow then, Pieman?
Well, we won't go into every match in too much detail because I'm already aware that, I've talked a lot longer than I wanted to, but it's been a good day of action. So, it's only right that we give it the time. Well, Razma is kicking off the action tomorrow afternoon. Madars Razma, someone who in the preview, quarter-by-quarter preview, I gave a bit of a stellar review to. He plays Toru Suzuki, the Japanese qualifier who was not expected to reach the Ali Pali, not really on many people's radars. And the average information that we found on him suggests that Razma could do a job on him. I think 3-0 Razma is 5-2. I don't know if it still is. It might have been money come for it, but I think, you could do a lot worse there.
Let me I'll double check that for you.
I'll leave that to you while I just cover the next game, which is Mike De Decker versus
9-4-ish. 9-4-ish. Sorry.
So it's trimmed a touch. Yeah. I expect that to go off 2-1, maybe even a bit shorter, to be honest. Yeah. Mike De Decker versus Edward Shuji Fawkes, another one of our Asian qualifiers here. Another one we don't know a lot about, but he did beat Seigo Asada and Ko to qualify for this. Couldn't be putting up De Decker with any confidence, really, because he's not a very trustworthy player, but he should win that game. Ryan Murray, Lawrence Ilagan is a game that I'm looking forward to purely for Ilagan. Let's see if he stands in front of the camera again like he did last time. He's a bit of a character. That should be a good watch regardless. If you find yourself at a loose end at 2:00 tomorrow afternoon, just put the darts on.
Winner of that plays Van Gerwen.
Yeah, winner of that gets beat off Van
Good luck
Gerwen,
to him,
unfortunately. Yeah. And then we have the Darryl Gurney Willie O'Connor game. As I say, interested in O'Connor, although the price is maybe a bit tighter than you would have hoped for.
O'Connor will be up for that, and he's the type of player that doesn't get flustered, and he knows the tour well. He plays a lot of tour events, and he will know that Darryl Gurney has not been in great form, and as a result of that, he will fancy himself to win that game. And then, as we've already identified, that little section, there's someone going to come out of there, and the winner of that goes on to play Chris Dobie. Anything could happen. So it could be. There's a lot riding on that game, to be honest.
Definitely is, yeah. Looking forward to that one. The evening, kicks off with Luke Waldows versus Jamie Lewis. Really interesting game, one that we lined up as potentially fireworks. But a lot does depend on which Jamie Lewis turns up. He's been he's had his struggles, well documented and well covered in our previews. Done brilliantly just to get here. Let's hope that he can produce some of the darts that he did on his famous run in the Ali Pali a couple of years ago. Because I think Luke Woodhouse is a player to keep a serious eye on. I think he could do some damage. I really do. So that game. I don't want to stick my neck on the line and say it will be close because it depends how Lewis plays. But I think it'd be a good game. Potentially. Then we have one of the main men of the first round that we've put up. Still can be backed as the underdog in this game. Boris Kirchmer to play Ron Meulenkamp. I've actually noticed there's a bit of money coming for Meulenkamp. I must have missed something here because I think I'm very much team Boris there. I think Boris could get the job done on Meulenkamp there.
I would 100% agree with that. And there was two first rounders that I put up, I think, on our conclusion video. Sedlacek, we know what happened there, and Big Boris. So
Boris will be missing match start if today's anything to go by them.
Yeah, so Big Boris at even money tomorrow that's my only bet tomorrow. Fancy it. Yeah,
I couldn't disagree. Then we've got Ryan Searle, another man that I think you've got him for the quarter, haven't you?
Yeah, 25-1, small go on. Yeah.
Starts his campaign against the American qualifier Danny Lauby. Searle should win that, I think. And then we've got Jose rounding off the night against Ross Smith. It'd be a test for Jose, but Ross Smith is the kind of player that, against most seeds, playing like he is, you feel like he might be able to rattle them, but it's just, can you rattle Jose de Sousa? I'm not sure you can, to be honest. It's all about Jose. If Jose turns up and in anything like the form he's been in recently, he beats Ross Smith. So the standouts for me tomorrow are definitely Willie O'Connor against Darryl Gurney and Boris Kirchmer against Ron Meulenkamp. Also couldn't put anyone off having a look at Razma to win 3-0 at 5-2, 9-4.
Yep, I would 100% agree with the Boris shout. The Gurney and O'Connor's the most intriguing match. It's not one for me to be betting on. I do think O'Connor is slightly short in the betting. And you know more about me than for the Razma game, but that 3-0 does look potentially bigger than it should be given the quality of the opponent in question. So, yeah, that's day 2 review and day 3 preview covered. Hopefully we'll be back again for the Friday action that includes the aforementioned Callum Ridge as well. And there's one of our very favourites, John Henderson. So, I mean, you'll be tuning in to listen to us talk about Big John Henderson. So, anyway, thank you very much. Let us know if you've had any winners or if you're having any bets in the comments, and we will speak to you soon. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.